Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another WWE predictions video. It is once again that time of the month where I break down the current WWE PLE and I go through all my predictions, who I think is going to win the matches, how I think they're going to go down, any surprise swerves, anything like that. And of course, it is time to do the first ever two-night SummerSlam as of the making of this video, which is directly after SmackDown, basically meaning there's going to be no more matches announced. There is 12 matches announced. I'm really not quite sure the ordering of the night, so we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to start and we're just going to go the whole way through. There's not really going to be any order to it. We're just going to go ahead and, yeah, just kind of give us predictions. And where better to start than with the Women's World Championship matchup between Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Naomi. And whenever I did my Evolution predictions, I predicted Rhea Ripley to walk out with the Women's Championship. I never saw Naomi cashing in on the Women's World Championship. I really thought she was going to cash in on Tiffany Stratton and the WWE Women's Championship. But nonetheless, here we are. Triple threat match is announced. This time it's proper. Technically, it did happen at Evolution, but really Naomi was only in it for about 30 seconds. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into it here. And really, I think it's going to be pretty obvious. Naomi is 99.9% pretty sure is going to retain the championship here. I'm going to predict that Naomi does it. I'm going to knock these two down. And the reason is because she literally just won it. I don't think she's going to lose it, especially because of the fact she won it via cash-in. And I think she's going to go on to Clash in Paris to fight Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's Championship. And yeah, I'm going to go with Naomi as my final prediction for the Women's World Championship triple threat. As who I think is going to take the pin, unfortunately, I do think it is going to be Io Sky. I don't see them letting Rhea Ripley take the pin here. I think Naomi's going to get a screwy finish, steal the victory from someone. I don't see her winning clean. She never normally does. But yeah, I'm going to go with Naomi as to walk out with the Women's World Championship. Up next, we have the Intercontinental Championship matchup, and I've been seeing other prediction videos online, and it feels like I'm in the minority of this one. I'm predicting AJ Styles to take the Intercontinental Championship off Dirty Dom Mysterio, because let's just face it, Dom has not had a good run. I get maybe he was injured, maybe he wasn't, maybe it was a work. I don't know, but Dom has been injured nonetheless and has not defended the championship since, I believe, Money in the Bank. But nonetheless, I think AJ Styles should take the title off Dom. I don't know if he will. I hope that they do. So I'm just going to go with my gut on this one and say that AJ Styles walks out. The work he's been doing as the janitor and as the chauffeur and as the doctor and praying that Dom gets better. That's just been great. I hope it continues with AJ Styles as the Intercontinental Championship. He's personally one of my favorites, so I'm kind of biased on this one, but I do think it is time for Dom to lose the Intercontinental Championship, so I'm going with a shot in the dark. I'm going to predict AJ Styles to win the Intercontinental Championship. Up next, it is for the United States Championship. It is Jacob Fatu. Still don't got the new figure, so until then, this is still our replacement, Jacob Fatu. If you guys have been watching the videos since really the Royal Rumble when we started these videos, you guys know that is our Jacob Fatu figure. But anyhow, he is facing Solo Sikoa for the United States Championship inside of a steel cage. And what I've noticed about this SummerSlam in particular, besides the fact that it's two nights, is the fact that it is super stipulation heavy. Like, we have a no disqualifications match, we have a street fight, we have a TLC match, we have a steel cage match, which is great. I love the fact that this match is going to be taking place in a steel cage match. The only issue with that is I think it's kind of writing on the wall, or at least for me, that I do not see Jacob Fatu retaining. I see him about to win, maybe even gonna jump off the cage like the lunatic that he is, but I see him about to win, and then the MFTs, Tonga Loa, Tala Tonga, JC Mateo, they're all just gonna come out and screw Solo. I see him escaping the cage and winning the United States Championship, keeping it. I do think the plan is eventually to have him drop it to Jacob, hopefully at least. Jacob Fatu had a pretty short run with the United States Championship, but as for now, I'm going to say Solo Sikoa is going to walk out as the United States Champion by escaping the cage, and we are going to have a continuation of this feud at least for a couple more months, maybe just till Clash in Paris. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to go with Solo Sikoa to retain. The next matchup on SummerSlam is the main event, Jey Uso teaming with Roman Reigns to take on Braun Breaker and Big Bronson Reed in a big-time tag team match. I'm really surprised Roman Reigns wasn't, in either World Championship match, considering the fact that, since, I don't even know, I want to say SummerSlam. Oh no, he returned at SummerSlam 2020. So he has been in every single world title match at SummerSlam for like 5 years now. So I'm really surprised that they did not put him back in, especially since they're getting him on the SummerSlam card. However, I do kind of feel like this is filler due to the Rollins injury. We'll get to that a bit later. But at least for right now, we have Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And I'm going to go with main event Jey Uso and Roman Reigns to knock off B&B Security. I think Jey Uso, he's doing whatever right now. He's kind of just floating around, just kind of entering feuds with Gunther, entering feuds with Rollins. But, I mean, it's Roman Reigns at the end of the day, Like, as good as they're trying to push Braun Breaker, this is still Roman Reigns' yard. I think he's going to walk out with the win. Braun and Bronson, they've been getting most of the momentum building towards this. They've been picking up wins on Raw against, like, Sami Zayn, Penta, Jey Uso, so Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, I feel like need to take the L. They don't need to take the L, but I think over Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, I'm going to predict Roman Reigns and Jey Uso to beat Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. The next match I almost actually forgot to include here. I had to come back here and put it back in. I actually only remembered it because I uploaded my referee video, or that you guys should have saw earlier today, if not yesterday, depending on when this video comes out. I'm hoping this video actually will come out Saturday, earlier in the day before SummerSlam. But anyhow, it is Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross, and I really think this matchup, for as stipulation heavy as SummerSlam is, really could have used a backstage brawl match, or, an I Quit match, considering Karrion Kross is trying to get Sami Zayn to give in to the temptation of turning heel. And I'm actually going to go with a bit of a surprise, or it might not be a surprise. I really don't see many people talking about this match. I'm going to say Karrion Kross takes the win. Sami Zayn took the first win. I don't see Karrion Kross just giving up and going away. I think whatever this feud has started, it is going towards Sami Zayn eventually turning heel. Not anytime soon. I think he's going to hopefully maybe even be the one. Well, I don't know if Rollins' injury. I really thought that Rollins was going to cash in and Sami Zayn was going to, eventually beat Rollins. Like I said, we'll get into that a little bit later. But for now, I think it would only make sense storyline-wise if Karrion Kross wins this match. I'm really surprised this matchup is actually taking place on SummerSlam, especially over the matches like Damian Priest versus Aleister Black, taking place just over so many other matches that could have been on the show. But nonetheless, Karrion Kross, I'm going to go with beating Sami Zayn here and, moving on from this storyline and just slowly planting those seeds to eventually turn Sami Zayn heel. Up next, we have Becky Lynch versus the still invisible Lyra Valkyria. I still, for the life of me, could not track down a Lyra Valkyria figure. There's none on ringside, but anyhow, that's not the point here. We got Becky Lynch defending the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Lyra Valkyria in a not technically no holds barred. They had to add some extra rules to it. It's like, no countouts, no disqualifications. There must be a winner, like there hasn't been a winner for the past two matches. But anyhow, though, Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. And I'm actually going to go ahead and give this one to Becky Lynch. I think Bayley, at the end of the day, is going to be the one to cost Lyra Valkyria. She cut that promo, or I guess backstage segment on Raw, where she said she really didn't know where to go from there after, missing WrestleMania and now missing SummerSlam. So I'm going to go with the distraction, whether or not it's intentional or not. I'm going to say that Bayley cost Becky Lynch and that we have a retention of the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Next up, we have the matchup that I am personally most excited for. It is the six-pack TLC ladder match for the WWE Tag Team Champions. Now, it is Fraxium, Motor City Machine Guns, Andrade and Rey Fenix, DIY, the Tag Team Champions, Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy. I just put Eric Rowan in there because I don't have a Joe Gacy figure. I don't think Joe Gacy has a figure right now, but it's made the frame a bit more complete to have both Tag Team Champions, anyhow, though, and the Street Profits. Now, before I go ahead and give you guys my predictions, I have seen a couple things on Instagram talking about how WWE is supposed to be having the draft after SummerSlam. I don't know if that's true or not, but for this prediction, I'm going to use that logic and say that they are, for whatever reason. And simply for the fact that for the past, really since, February, not even that, going back to probably December, the tag team division has just been not even in shambles. It has been so good, but it has been just nothing but brawling, Like, it has just been complete destruction. We've had some great matches, but most of them end with disqualification. So I think this would be the perfect way to just, end it all. If they're doing the draft afterwards, cool. whatever. But I think this is just the perfect way to end it all. We don't have to have a pinfall. We don't have to have a submission, which is why I do not think the Wyatt Six are going to retain the tag team titles. I think they're going to have a short run with the belts. I'm trying not to knock everybody over while also taking the belts off of the Wyatts, but that didn't really work, and now it's just they're just laying there. But anyhow, though, I also don't believe it should really be the Street Profits. They have done whatever. Motor City, they're not even in the frame here. I do feel like they kind of got a way shorter run with the tag titles, but I also don't think they're going to win. Let's be honest here. Andrade and Rey Fenix are just in the match to make it better. That's how Andrade got into the Money in the Bank. So I don't see him walking out of it, which brings us down to Fraxium and DIY. And DIY, as funny as it would be for them to win the tag titles again, the moment of silence after they win or that they lose the tag team title match is going to be crazy there. But anyhow, no, I do not think DIY is going to retain, and unfortunately, we do not have Nathan Frazier. So instead, I'm just going to give Axiom both tag team titles. I think Fraxium will be walking out with the tag team titles. That ladder match just kind of fits them. Their tag team title match got screwed over by the Wyatts when they first showed up, so I'm going to go with Fraxium to win the WWE Tag Team Championships. The next match on the show is for the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, and it is the Judgment Day. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defending the Women's Tag Team titles against Team We're Not Friends, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss. Now, I think this matchup could be the easiest to predict, or at least I hope the easiest to predict on the whole entire show here. I really think Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair need to win the tag titles. They're the best thing, arguably, besides the SmackDown tag team division, they are the best thing on SmackDown and maybe in all of WWE right now. I think it's so great what they're finally doing with Charlotte Flair to make sure she's not getting booed. They finally found something to do with Alexa Bliss after she returns, and I think this would be one of the biggest opportunities possibly since The Fiend that they could just waste by not giving them the tag team titles, at least for a little bit. So I'm going to predict, just real quick, real simple, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, not retain, I keep saying retain whenever there's new champions. I think they're going to win at the Women's Tag Team Championships. Nothing else to really say here except for, let's go Charlotte Flair. Never thought I'd say that. Then there's this match. And real quick, before we go ahead and get into the predictions, yes, this right here, this monstrosity is Jelly Roll. This is the best thing I could get for Jelly Roll. Putting an Otis head on it. It looks more like queso, but you know what, whatever though. We got Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. And the thing I'm going to say real quick is, like I said, I'm just filming this right after SmackDown has finished, and I don't know why this got the main event segment. But anyhow, though, this matchup is either going to be one of the greatest things ever seen, like Damian Priest and Bad Bunny versus The Miz and Morrison, or this is going to be a complete stink fest and a waste of 2 main eventers and 1 Logan Paul for SummerSlam. But, I mean, I've thought back long and hard about this. I think the winners should be Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre, and I know Drew McIntyre should not be getting pinned whatsoever, considering he just lost at Saturday Night's main event after a return. Unfortunately, though, I do not think Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre are going to win. However, I think it's going to be Randy Orton and Jelly Roll by Jelly Roll most likely choke slamming, since that's the only move we've ever seen him really do, considering not even his punches look that good. However, I'm going to say Jelly Roll and Randy Orton pick up the victory by Jelly Roll pinning Logan Paul after Randy Orton has taken out Drew McIntyre. Next up, we have the WWE Women's Championship matchup, and I really feel bad before we go into these predictions. I really feel bad for Tiffany Stratton. They have fumbled her championship run so much. The matches have been, whatever, but it's like her WrestleMania feud with Charlotte was just mishandled so well, and it's the same thing with this one. And I really feel bad, and I really think her title reign is going to end, which I guess just kind of spoiled who I think is going to win. I do think Stratton is going to go ahead or lose the championship to Jade Cargill. And I'm not even going to knock over Tiffany Stratton like I normally knock over the losers, because I actually feel decently bad on how they've handled her championship run. But I do think this is just setting Jade Cargill up here tonight. With Naomi no longer being Miss Money in the Bank, I don't see how this matchup could get any easier to predict than with Jade Cargill just going out there, whooping Tiffany Stratton, and walking out with the new Women's Championship. Similar to Nia Jax versus Bayley from last year's SummerSlam. There's not going to be anything too special about it. It might be one of those hidden gem matches if we can get a good match out of Jade. Tiffany, she hasn't really been able to show out too much on the main roster either. But, maybe this matchup will be decent. Maybe Tiffany Stratton in a world can retain. I just don't see it. But I am going to go Jade Cargill. And I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm sorry, Tiffany. I am going to have to knock you over. Jade Cargill is going to be the new WWE Women's Champion. Hopefully not, but it's going to happen at SummerSlam. Now, here's something we're going to be doing a little bit different with these predictions videos. I currently have both of the matches. I have yet to predict both world title matches. I specifically saved these two for the end. It is Gunther versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship, and then it is Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the WWE Championship in a street fight. And I'm going to go ahead and quickly slide these guys over here, slide these guys over a bit. And the reason I have them both right here is because of one man. And I think you guys know who I'm talking about by now. It is Seth frickin' Rollins. And it really depends if this injury is a work or not. Obviously, you never know. The way his knee looked like it buckled, it didn't look as severe, at least personally to me. And then again, I'm nowhere close to a doctor. I make YouTube videos. But anyhow, nonetheless, if it is legit and Rollins is out of the picture, which we will get to in a second, then we can just knock him down. But I'm not going to knock him down quite yet, because let's say for a minute that this is a fake, this is a work, whatever. I just want to do some fantasy booking here real quick. You guys can skip ahead in the video a little bit if you just want to get to my predictions. However, I just want to go ahead and get this here. Say Rollins is not hurt and he comes back and he just personally, just because he feels like it, screws over CM Punk. I do think either way, whether Rollins is there or not, Punk is just not going to win. I think Gunther just needs a clean win over CM Punk. But at the same time, if Punk were to win, I would absolutely love to see it. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and just pull Gunther out here, pull Punk out. I'm going to go with Gunther to retain. And that gets us to this matchup here. And once again, we're just going to kind of, say Rollins isn't hurt or is hurt for a second. It's Cody Rhodes. It's John Cena. I don't think there's too much to go here. We could say Cody beats John and then Seth cashes in. And if Seth Rollins isn't hurt and he comes back into the picture here, I say that could happen. So I'm gonna kind of cheat here. I'm gonna do two predictions. If Rollins is hurt and he misses SummerSlam, I see Cena just retains. That plants the seeds for Cena to continue being a babyface. Cody Rhodes to slowly turn heel. If Rollins isn't injured, and I keep getting this confused, if he isn't injured and he shows up, then I do see Cody beating Cena, so Cena can have the title off of him, go on, be a babyface. The old John Cena can come back. He can, finish his career. He has like 10 or 12 or maybe 13 dates left at most. Retire as a slowly turning into a babyface. And then Cody Rhodes goes full Homelander, and we have Rollins walking out with the WWE Championship. However, there's not really much else I can predict here. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and say Rollins is hurt. Say we're all just being marks, and this is a work. I'm going to predict John Cena to retain the championship. This is really only, as I believe, his third title defense in his championship run. I feel like his big 17th world title run cannot just go down like this. It has to be legendary. It has to be memorable more than it already is. So I'm going to go ahead and say John Cena is going to retain. And guys, since this was a bit of a longer video, I am going to go ahead and just once again recap my predictions. We got the Bloodline sitting here on the floor. They're having a good time. But I'm going to predict Roman Reigns and Jey Uso to beat Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Solo Sikoa to beat Jacob Fatu by escaping the cage. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss to beat the Judgment Day to win the tag team titles. Fraxium to win the TLC match. Becky Lynch to beat Lyra Valkyria, probably by Bayley interfering. Karrion Kross to beat Sami Zayn. Randy Orton and Jelly Roll to beat Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. Unfortunately, hopefully, AJ Styles beating Dominic Mysterio. I do not remember if I said already, so I'll say it again. Gunther beating CM Punk. Jade Cargill beating Tiffany Stratton. Not sure if I said those two already. And then providing, Mr. Money in the Bank here, Seth Rollins ain't hurt. John Cena to retain the WWE Championship. So these are my predictions, guys. I'm pretty sure I put all 12 winners here I'm looking around in the pile and I do not see any other winners that I'm predicting. So these are my predictions, guys. Go ahead, leave your guys' predictions in the comments down below. I will see you guys next time. I thank you guys for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, and yeah, guys, thank you once again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.